Hey, what's up, guys, people? I found myself in Genesis 4 today, and text is rather interesting because I remember it was about 2 years ago. I started to wonder what was so bad about Cain's offering. What was the major difference between the two? Because, like, from face value, I always used to think that, hey, could it be that God did not want fruit, or could it be that he desired a meat sacrifice more, or something like that? I couldn't figure out for the life of me why God accepted or respected Abel's sacrifice so much. Let me read the text, and I'm gonna let you know why. It took me a while to understand it, but I'm gonna let you know why. We're going to start at Genesis 4, verse 1, and we're going to go all the way to verse 5. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought up the fruit of the ground and offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. So we see in this text that Adam and Eve, they have a son, and this first son, his name is Cain. And then they have a second son, and his name is Abel. And then it comes time for these two to give a sacrifice. Cain gives a sacrifice from the fruit of the ground unto the Lord, and Abel gives a sacrifice from the firstlings of his flock. And God has the utmost respect for Abel's sacrifice, but he does not respect Cain's sacrifice. And like I said, this always used to baffle me because I didn't understand what Cain did that was so bad, or what Abel did that was so great. But let's dig a little deeper. First, I want to start off by going to Hebrews 11 and 4, because it gives you a little bit of insight about the two sacrifices. It says, by faith, Abel offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and by it, he being dead, yet speaketh. So, first off, Hebrews 11 and 4 says that it was by faith that Abel gave a much better sacrifice than Cain. But it's a little bit deeper than that. Let's figure out why it was by faith. Let's go back to Genesis 4 and read those sacrifices that were given, because that's going to give you a little bit of context of why it was by faith. And then I'm going to dig a little deeper, and then I'll be done with this with this lesson right here, or with these talking points that I have. All right, let's get back to Genesis 4 and check out these sacrifices real quick. All right, it says that, and in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. All right, so Cain just brought a random regular offering of fruit to God. But let's look at what Abel did. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. The difference is Abel gave the firstlings of his flock. He gave the first of what he had. And that is the determining factor into God accepting this sacrifice. Let me tell you how I know this. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 3. And I think it's verse 9. It says that, honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. So, really, the moral of this story is that God wants your first. And what does your first prove? Your first proves that you know that God, and you have faith that God is going to provide you with more. If you only have $1 and you give it to God, you're putting your trust in God that you're going to get more dollars. That's what was important in his sacrifice, was Abel giving the first of what he had. And in the same manner, we need to give the first of what we have. Or when you first open your eyes, you need to give glory unto God. You need to pray unto God and thank him that you are allowed another day. When you get your money, you need to give that first portion to the Lord and thank him that he was able, he gave you the strength to get money in the first place. So everything, that first child, even when you read in the law, it tells you about dedicating that first child to God. God wants the first of everything, and he wants the best of everything. So remember to give God your first and to give God your best. That way, you know your sacrifice will be accepted and respected by God. That's all I got for you guys, people.